Talk about the significance of this bank.
Oh, it's very, very important in many ways. First, the need globally for more investment in the developing countries especially is in the order of magnitude of trillions, a couple $1 trillion a year. And the existing institutions just don't have enough resources. They have enough for 2, 3, 4%. So this is adding to the flow of money that will go to finance infrastructure, adaptation to climate change, all the needs that are so evident in the poorest countries. Secondly, it reflects a fundamental change in global economic and political power. That one of the ideas behind this is that the BRICS countries today are richer than the advanced countries were when the World Bank and the IMF were founded. We're in a different world. At the same time, the world hasn't kept up. The old institutions have not kept up. You know, the G20 talked about and agreed on a change in the governance of the IMF and the World Bank, which were set back in 1944. There have been some revisions. But the U.S. Congress refuses to follow along with the agreement. The administration failed to go along with what was widely understood as the basic notion that, you know, in the 21st century, the heads of these institutions should be chosen on the basis of merit, not just because you are an American. And yet, the U.S. effectively reneged on that agreement. So this new institution reflects the disparity and the democratic deficiency in the global governance, and is trying to restart, to rethink that. Finally, there have been a lot of other changes in the global economy, and the new institution reflects the broader set of mandates, the new concerns, the new sets of instruments that can be used, the new financial instruments, and the broader governance, realizing the deficiencies in the old system of governance. Hopefully, this new institution will spur the existing institutions to reform, and that's what, you know, it's not just competition. It's really trying to get more resources to the developing countries in ways that are consistent with their interests and needs.
And the importance of countries like China, which obviously has huge monetary reserves, and Brazil, which had developed its own development bank now for several years, they're being key players in this new financial organization.
Very much, and that illustrates, as you say, a couple of interesting points. China has reserves in excess of $3 trillion. So one of the things is that it needs to use those reserves better than just putting them into U.S. Treasury bills. You know, my colleagues in China say that's like putting meat in a refrigerator and then pulling out the plug, because the real value of the money put in U.S. Treasury bills is declining. So they say we need better uses for those funds. Certainly better uses than using those funds to build, say, shoddy homes in the middle of the Nevada desert. You know, they're real social needs, and those funds haven't been used for those purposes. At the same time, Brazil has the BNDES is a huge development bank, bigger than the World Bank. People don't realize this, but Brazil has actually shown how a single country can create a very effective development bank. So there's a learning going on, and this notion of how you create an effective development bank that actually promotes real development without all the conditionality and all the trappings around the old institutions is going to be an important part of the contribution that Brazil is going to make.
And how does that bank function differently, let's say, than other development banks in the north?
Well, we don't know yet, because it's just getting started. The agreement, it's been several years underway. The discussions began about 3 years ago, and then they made a commitment, and then they've been working on it very steadily. What was big about this agreement was there was a little worry that there would be conflicts of the interest? You know, everybody wanted the headquarters, the president. Would there be enough political cohesion, solidarity to make a deal? Answer was there was. So what it was really saying is that in spite of all the differences, the emerging markets can work together in a way more effectively than some of the advanced countries can work together.